Welcome to the DIY Honda Garage channel. The Diagnostic Trouble Code, DTC P0522, represents a low-voltage signal from the rocker arm oil pressure sensor in the Honda Pilot models from 2016 to 2022. When this DTC is activated, it generally indicates that the rocker arm oil pressure sensor, which is critical for regulating oil flow to the valve train for optimal engine performance, is not functioning correctly. The sensor is responsible for sending pressure readings to the powertrain control module, PCM, which adjusts the oil pressure according to engine needs. A malfunction can lead to increased wear and tear on engine components, potentially causing serious damage over time. In this case, the circuit low voltage means that the sensor is sending a reading lower than the expected minimum, specifically less than 0.18 volts. This could affect how the engine operates, emphasizing the need for proper diagnostic measures to identify and rectify the issue. The rocker arm oil pressure sensor plays a pivotal role in the engine's oil flow management, particularly in Honda Pilot models from 2016 to 2022. This sensor is connected to the vehicle's powertrain control module, PCM, and is responsible for monitoring oil pressure and sending that information back to the PCM. It is generally located near the engine's valve train, providing crucial feedback for oil pressure adjustments. The Diagnostic Trouble Code P0522 indicates that the voltage being reported by this sensor has dropped below 0.18 volts, which is significantly lower than required for proper engine function. This error needs to be addressed promptly to prevent any damage to the engine and to maintain optimal vehicle performance. The potential causes behind the low voltage reading of the rocker arm oil pressure sensor vary in complexity and can lead to this DTC appearing. First, a malfunction of the sensor itself cannot be ruled out. Wear and tear or internal failure can produce erratic voltage signals. Alternatively, poor electrical connections at either the sensor or the PCM may hinder proper voltage transmission. Inspecting for corroded or loose connectors is essential. Open or shorted wiring in the circuit can also lead to erroneous readings. Disruption in the wire could either result in a voltage drop or send incorrect voltage levels. Addressing these potential issues early in the diagnostic process is crucial for efficient troubleshooting. The manifestation of DTC P0522 can be observed through several symptoms that the vehicle's operator may experience. One primary indication is a noticeable drop in engine performance. The engine may become sluggish or fail to respond to the accelerator input promptly. Additionally, the vehicle's dashboard may illuminate a warning light specific to engine functions, alerting the driver about potential issues. The valve train itself might operate irregularly, leading to issues such as misfires or a reduction in fuel efficiency. Recognizing these symptoms can prompt timely diagnostic checks, ultimately reducing the risk of severe engine damage. The first step in troubleshooting DTC P0522 involves verifying the problem accurately. Begin by turning the vehicle to the on mode, but not starting the engine. Utilize the Honda Diagnostic System, HDS, to check specific parameters related to the rocker arm oil pressure sensor. You will specifically look for the voltage reading. If it is below the threshold of 0.18 volts, it confirms that the failure has indeed occurred. If it reads within acceptable levels, there may be an intermittent failure, suggesting a need to inspect electrical connections or loose terminals. Gathering accurate data in this step is crucial for guiding the subsequent troubleshooting measures. The next step is to determine the specific area that might be causing the issue. Begin by turning off the vehicle completely, ensuring it is in the lock mode. Disconnect the 3P connector from the rocker arm oil pressure sensor. Once disconnected, turn the vehicle back to the on mode. Using the HDS, check the voltage parameters again. If the reading is still below the threshold of 0.18 volts, proceed to the following steps to analyze the sensor or the circuit. However, if the readings fall within normal parameters at this stage, it suggests potential issues with wiring or connections, prompting a more thorough investigation. In this step, we assess the VCC2 line to check for specific voltage readings. Turn the vehicle to the on mode again, ensuring the rocker arm oil pressure sensor 3P connector remains disconnected. Measure the voltage between test points as designated. Test point 1 should be at the number 1 pin of the 3P connector, while test point 2 is at the number 3 pin. The expected reading should be around 5.0 volts. If this voltage is observed, the sensor is likely at fault and should be replaced to restore proper functionality. However, if the voltage is not around 5.0 volts, further steps are required to diagnose potential wiring issues. The fourth troubleshooting step involves checking for open wires in the VCC2 line. First, turn the vehicle to off mode and jump the SCS line using the HDS, allowing a waiting period of over a minute to ensure the system is ready for testing. Once the vehicle is prepared, disconnect the PCM connector B, which houses essential circuits for reading data and transmitting signals. You will then measure continuity between the designated test points. Ensure that the 3P connector is disconnected from the sensor as well as the PCM connector. The continuity test will verify if the VCC2 wire between the PCM and the sensor is intact. If continuity exists, the wiring is functional, while a lack of it indicates an open circuit that must be repaired. The final step in our troubleshooting process focuses on checking for any shorted wires in the OP sensor line. Again, start by turning the vehicle to the off mode and jumping the SCS line. Maintain the disconnection of the PCM connector B during this part of the process. Continuity will be measured between test points specified earlier, while ensuring to keep the rocker arm oil pressure sensor connector disconnected. If continuity is identified from the second pin of the sensor to the vehicle's body ground, this indicates a short in the OP sensor wire that requires fixing. If continuity does not exist, the wiring can be assumed to be intact, leading you back to the PCM as a potential cause of the issue. After completing all troubleshooting steps and identifying the root cause of DTC P0522, you will move on to verify the repair. Begin by clearing the DTC codes from the Powertrain Control Module, PCM, to reset its memory and allow for a fresh assessment. Following this, take the vehicle for a thorough test drive under various operating conditions, allowing the system to communicate effectively and ensure everything is functioning correctly. After the test drive, recheck for any codes using the HDS to confirm whether the original DTC has returned or if new codes have appeared. Successful resolution of the issue should prevent the P0522 code from reappearing. Preventive maintenance is essential to avoid the recurrence of DTC P0522 and to prolong the life of the engine components. Regularly inspecting the rocker arm oil pressure sensor can help identify potential issues before they escalate into significant problems. Monitor the wiring connections visually for any signs of wear, fraying, or corrosion, which could lead to electrical failures. It's also important to make sure all connections to the PCM and sensor are securely fastened, as loose connections can cause erratic voltage readings. Keeping up with periodic maintenance checks and adhering to manufacturer recommendations for service intervals can significantly reduce the likelihood of encountering this issue again. In summary, DTC P0522 signifies a low-voltage condition in the rocker arm oil pressure sensor circuit for Honda Pilot models between 2016 and 2022. Understanding the role of the sensor and the implications of its failure is crucial for effective diagnostics and repair. Following a systematic troubleshooting approach can identify whether the issue lies with the sensor itself, the wiring, or the PCM. Ensuring rigorous preventive maintenance can mitigate future risks and keep the engine performing at optimal levels. A proactive approach to this DTC not only improves the vehicle's performance, but also enhances overall reliability. Please like and subscribe to the channel. See you next time.